There she goes. There she goes again. What is going on, all you lovely people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael Hora, and this is a lovely penguin. Welcome back, guys. This is the set breakdown video for Dreamcatcher's Because music video that we just watched. It was really awesome, really cool video, as well as a really dope song. So we're going to take a look at the sets and the props that we've seen, and I'm going to talk about them for a little bit. So please join me. And before we do that, go ahead and sub to the channel if you haven't, because if you haven't, you're a dingus. I said it. Let's go. All right, so just getting us started off right here, we got our girl. I believe this is Nayan. Hopefully I said her name right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. She's got a cage on her head. It's a bird cage. It's a simple thing that you can buy. For the most part, if you're doing this over here in the U.S., these would easily be at a prop house, but you could also get them at most stores. I mean, you can get them at Walmart. You can get them at Target. You can get them at a Michael's. Pretty much anywhere that sells that kind of like decorative stuff around the house. And then for the most part, it looks like they had this already without the bottom on it. But if you bought one with it, you just take a couple of clippers and clip off the bottom piece. And then it's open at the bottom so that she can fit inside of it and then throw it. But this whole set is actually really cool because it zooms out. And we get to see these beautiful flowers. Yeah, let's get one frame without because. So you get to see these beautiful flowers. They got the chains. They got this nice room. I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of water down low as well. I don't know that for a fact or not. I just think there is. But apparently, when we were watching the behind the scenes, those are genuinely real flowers, which is a really cool touch. So it definitely adds a little bit of something extra. It's more expensive to buy regular flowers than it would be just to rent fake ones. But it definitely adds that extra little bit of texture to the videos as well. They also had some sort of like a smoke grenade or something go off in the back there, which could be art department. I've never actually had to use a smoke grenade or anything like that, so I'm not 100% sure. But I don't believe it is a smoke machine because there's a little bit of an explosion and then the smoke comes out. So I'm pretty sure it's like actually a smoke grenade. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's somebody just back there who had it rigged up and then they leave the set probably outside. There's that back door there, just outside one way or the other, and then they just pull the chain, bada boom, bada bing, thing goes off. We get this beautiful shot. Also, apparently they did it in one take, which is sick. And yeah, I mean, it's a simple room for the most part. It's up on a platform for the most bit. You can actually see here that the floors are raised. And they're just flat walls that they screwed a couple of places to attach chain to. Chain you can get pretty easily from like any Home Depot or Lowe's or any home improvement type stores. You can buy them at length, these huge long chains. They're not super expensive. Obviously, the longer you get, the more expensive it'll be. But it's a simple-ish setup for the fact that it looks so good, you know? And like I've said in so many videos before, simple doesn't mean bad. It's not a bad thing. It's actually can be a very good thing. In fact, we're going to get to see a couple of other shots that are really simple but are great. So let's keep going. Now, this one, the concierge, the hotel that they're in, it's almost simple. Almost simple. I'll say this whole ceiling piece with the lights, the chandeliers hanging off of it, is going to be a pretty difficult build. And I will say this, they are inside of a studio. In fact, it's actually kind of funny. I don't know if this is supposed to be in there or not, but you can actually see some of the lights that are rigged up to the ceiling, and you can actually see the ceiling over here on this side. I'm just noticing it now because we're paused. But they could have also had the ceiling set up onto a rig that would go to the trusses up on the ceiling. They could lift the ceiling up and then put up the pillars and then drop the ceiling on top of the pillars as well, just to make this whole thing kind of go a little bit easier. But so then they could build the ceiling on the floor and then raise it up, then have the pillars brought in, put up as well. where they could build the pillars like outside or wherever they were doing their art department stuff. But it's relatively simple, and I say relatively just because they have this marble texture that's on there as well, which, for the fact that it's so far away from the camera, it could possibly be painted on. There are people called scenic painters who can paint textures onto things such as marble and different stone kind of or even wood grains or anything like that as well. So it wouldn't be too surprising if they actually just painted that, but if they didn't, then they most likely got a stick-on vinyl, which you get a print of what marble would look like on it, and then you just stick it on there and cut it to shape, and it really wraps well onto different surfaces, and it sticks really well as well. That's why you'd use that. It's more of a tedious task because if you don't put it down correctly, it'll bubble. So you need to make sure that you're putting it down perfectly flat. Usually you'll have some sort of like a putty knife or like a scraper, like a plastic scraper that you can be pushing while you're going, so that any bubbles that do form get flattened out before you get too far gone. But yeah, I mean, this is a really cool piece. They have a bunch of different props here. They got all these suitcases. They got the bellhop trolley. They got more suitcases, a couple of the dresses. The dresses would just come from wardrobe. And then even the statues as well, which all would be things that you'd get from a prop house as well. I think you can also get the chandeliers from the prop house. I will say I've not had to work with any chandeliers before, so I don't know if they had to buy those or if they could be rented. I'd imagine you could probably rent those, though, for the most part. Definitely these light fixtures you can rent. I've seen those before. But chandeliers that like elegant looking, you might have to buy. But yeah, then it's cool too. They made a nice back piece here where they actually have like the concierge desk with the keys up on the background. The keys, the little fobs or the plastic bits that are on those keys, you could buy them online for really cheap. Like you could buy a whole bunch of them. It'll cost you like $5. It's really not expensive. So you can, I'm sure they just bought those. I doubt they rented it. They're really, really not expensive to get. So you can easily do that kind of stuff. And then the rest of the stuff would all just be rental things. But yeah, I've rented out these trolleys before, the hotel trolleys. They're good. They're good. I will say this: you got to make sure you got the right air in those tires. I've worked on a shoot before where we had one of these, and it like one of the tires was flat, and it just like was a nightmare because we were trying to use it as well to like move other props. It just made the whole day harder. And here's another one that I'm talking about. Nice little sweet, simple set where they got the checkerboard going. They're going to eventually have it later in there with a bunch of those big chess pieces. Also things you can get from prop houses. Really easy, cheap things that you can buy. They're usually just plastic that they had a form for, and then they just make a mold of the chess pieces and stick them together to make a full piece. And that's how you make those plastic chess pieces, those giant plastic chess pieces. So this hallway scene that they had going on, it's another one of the things that they built onto the set. It is just a simple hallway setup. However, they put up wallpaper and then they put up a whole bunch of mirrors because the mirrors play a really big part of this music video in terms of like how you see me versus how I see me. Kind of like there's like the two parts of me type of a theme going on, if you would, and what's the real me, if you would. So they really play up the mirrors in this video, and then on top of it they have the camera spinning on its rig, so it makes it look like she's upside down. Obviously she can't just stand on the ceiling like that, so they're just flipping it around, but it's still a really cool one. And then on the flip side of the hallway they have the wall with the hole in it where the mirror looks like it's busted, but we'll get to that. So we get a bunch of shots on location at this awesome rundown amusement park. For the most part, I didn't really see any set dressing in it. I'm pretty sure everything that's in that part of the video is all stuff that was just there. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to keep watching through it again just in case to just double check it, but I'm pretty sure they didn't actually add anything in. The only thing that they really do is add in fog. And we got to see that in the making of video where there's people running around with the fog machines, making it a little bit more foggy. But I mean, like, look how cool that looks. It looks like just haunting and just cool at the same time. Just enough of both that it just makes for a really great aesthetic. Especially how clean they look versus like the dirty background. It makes them really pop, and it adds a lot more focus to them as the main feature of the video. And just real quick, this is the hallway upright, so you can actually see what it actually looks like when she's in there. But yeah, they put up tons of different mirrors and stuff, and then yeah, they put up wallpaper and whatnot, and molding and all that kind of stuff to make it look like a nice hallway. This is what I'm talking about. This one is a cool shot. There's not really much going on art-wise here. However, I really love the fact that they have like the flip version of them. So like they talk about like the you don't even really know me, like you don't know what that much about me or whatever, and it kind of shows like the flip-flop side of it. It's like, well, like this is me. What's the real me, It turns you up on your head. One thing quickly, they put another one of those smoke grenades behind her while she's over here at this spinning machine ride, and that's another little thing that they added in as well. But for the most part, this is all genuine things that were at this location. This one's actually a really fun little cute shot that they did. So they actually they're just back up on the checkered board stage that they had, and they draped a curtain just right in the middle there, and then they had this girl stick her legs through with her dress, and then there's the two people, which I'm pretty sure are art people, that just drag her real quick so her feet disappear. And it's something simple, but it's just like a funny little thing to add into it, where it's a very simplistic idea of how to make something happen, but it works. There she goes. There she goes again. All right. So this one's another one that I wanted to talk about. It's another one of these builds that looks probably a little more complex than it actually is. So I think this gate is actually, or this fence is actually on location as well. And then in the actual making of video, if you look closely at the masks, particularly this mask right here, because they do a little close up, they just attached them with some wire. So this metal wire that you can put through, you tie it up real tight, really quick. It kind of blends in with the metal because it's also metal. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, none of these masks are anything that intricate. I kind of talked about this in another video, and I'm forgetting which video it was that they used a mask in. I'm sure there's been multiple ones, but you can buy these face masks for really cheap, like really cheap, and then all you do is just decorate them. So, I mean, the one with the ears, that one's a little bit more of a special one. That one's not the same as the rest of these masks, but they're all pretty much the same-ish template that they just colored it differently, right? So you got like Kiss makeup, you got like a Joker face, you got just a really colorful one. I don't know if this is like a superhero or something, or a cartoon character, I don't know. But like they did, oh, that's also another kind of special looking one too, where it's not the same shape. And you got the cats too, I didn't even notice those. But still, it's a matter of like, I'm sure they just had somebody on set with some markers or even some paint and just colored these up real quick, And it's simple, but it looks really great. It just adds to the shot, I will say this one is interesting. So this one definitely means that they moved the chandelier. This is the same chandelier from the concierge scene, but it's now with them on location at this amusement park because you got that backlit merry-go-round. There you go. I wanted to say Ferris wheel so bad. Merry-go-round, where the lighting team, they went in, they put in green bulbs, but they also lit up the chandelier green as well. And that means that they have some sort of a rig set up, probably some C-stands that they have over the camera, or it could even be on a crane. I don't know. It depends on how heavy it is. And yeah, it's just hanging out in the open because they're outside right now. But that would be like partially art team, as well as like help from the grips, if you would. The grips are they're really great group of people. Here's another one, really simple setup. It's the same area where the girl gets dragged out from, with the same blue curtains. It's on the checkerboard floor, and yeah, it's a nice little mirror. You can actually see it's literally on a wire. As simple as it gets. But this kind of plays into the next shot that I wanted to see, which is the broken mirror. Here we go. Here's the broken mirror, right? And at some point she reaches her hand through with like an apple as well. So the thing that I would be the most concerned about with these mirrors is it's very easy to get a mirror. It's very easy to break a mirror. However, when you break a mirror, it becomes sharp. So there's the part of me that wonders if they just risked it and said, hey, just be careful when you're putting your hand through here. It's glass. It's sharp. Don't touch it. Or, which I feel like they probably wouldn't, but at the same time, I don't know what the kind of rules and restrictions are in Korea. So sometimes people do things a little bit differently. Sometimes they're willing to take a little more risks. I know here in the US, it's like any sort of danger is a no-go. So for us, what we would have to do is we would have to take those glass pieces and either sand them down to the point where they are smooth and they will not cut you, and then glue them back together to make it look like a broken mirror. Or you can also get this material called Marlite, which is like a harder plastic that has a reflective surface on it like a mirror, and you would then take it and break it, which is actually kind of hard to do, but it's doable, and then put it together in pieces in order to make it look like the mirror. So most likely what you would do is you take it and cut it first into the shape of the mirror, then take it and break it and make it look like a shattered mirror that you stick back together, because that would typically not cut you. But I have the sneaking suspicion that this is genuinely a mirror that they broke, because you can see there's little bits where the mirror, the shiny part of the mirror is gone, but there's still glass. So I think they just took a mirror and broke it and put it in there. And then the other fun part is they drill a big hole around it in the wall behind it, and then they just put it up. Boom. So it's kind of hard to see because they focus more on her face in the reflection rather than the hand that's coming through. But they actually do put somebody's hand through there with the mirror. So now I'm kind of wondering whose hand is that? It could be one of the art people's hands, because they wouldn't want to hurt any of the talent, you know? And art people are more like, whatever, put it through. I got nicks and stuff all over me all the time. But yeah, other than that, I believe this is the last one of the unique shots that we see. It's another really simple shot. It's a bed just out on that checkerboard stage that we were looking at for a bunch of different shots. They brought a couple of stuffed bears, stuffed animals and stuff. The one that's on the floor, the big guy there, they ripped its arms off, it looks like. And the stuffing's kind of pouring out of it. They got a couple creepy looking dolls around. There's actually one right there that's kind of hard to see. And yeah, I mean, the hardest part about this part of the build would just be setting the bed up, like building the frame of the bed and making sure it works. Again, it's something you could rent. A lot of films will just buy a bed because you can get a bed frame for kind of cheap. And it might be cheaper than actually renting one. And then they'll either try to return it after they're done, or they'll just give it to somebody or throw it out. It's wasteful, but unfortunately, a lot of productions are pretty wasteful. For being honest. And I know in their future videos, like we watched Maison, that they're trying to cut down on that kind of waste and save the planet a bit, which is awesome. But yeah, on a lot of productions, it's very wasteful. Very, very wasteful. Oh, excuse me. There was one more shot that we didn't see. And it was this shot of the close-ups of the two ladies with the fabric draped over their face where it's pinned together and they have to stare at each other. It's literally just that. It's a bunch of like very sheer fabric that you can put pins through, and you can still see people's face through as well. It's a very light linen type of a fabric. Really simple. It's such a close-up that they just did it on whatever stage, and it doesn't really matter because the background doesn't really matter. They're so close. So yeah, guys, that is gonna do it for this breakdown. This is a really cool video, and like I said, they have a lot of simple things, but they also have a pretty awesome in-depth things in this video as well. And just because something is simple doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Like I've said time and time again, in fact, simple is better more often than not, because if you do too much, then it's distracting. So yeah, guys, hopefully you learned something. Let me know if you did. And then like I say always, make sure you sub to the channel. It helps us grow. It's free, all that good stuff. Check out all the links down below. Come check us out on Twitch. Come check us out on our Discord. I want to hang out with you and get to know you guys a little bit better. So other than that, guys, stay aggressively positive. I love you. Have a great week. And yeah, get out of here. Bye.